All right, hello and welcome to today's episode where we're going to talk about why more information is not the answer when it comes to your OCD and anxiety recovery. So, for those of you that don't know me, my name is Matt Codde. I'm a licensed clinical social worker, the founder of Restored Minds, and the creator of AAA Response. And real quick before we dive in, please help our show out by liking and subscribing, as well as leaving a nice comment review on iTunes and Spotify. And if you're looking for help and guidance on your journey, head over to restoredminds.com or check out the links in the notes because we have some great resources to help you get started on this journey. So let's go ahead and dive into the topic of today, where really it's just this idea of more information is not better and not helpful most times for your recovery. So what a lot of people do that I've found is they hide in information gathering and information harvesting, and they so when they're looking for to really pursue recovery, oftentimes they're just buying book after book and listening to podcast after podcast, YouTube video after YouTube video, even this video. In this episode, it could be an example of that for you, depending where you are. And they convince themselves that because I'm learning about this, because I'm listening to information about this, and I'm acquiring information, that's moving me closer to my recovery. And the reality is it probably caps out at about 15% of the work. And what I mean by that is let's say 100% is really full recovery, 15% is information. So no matter how much information you go and get, you are going to cap out at 15%, meaning you still have 85% of the work to do, right? Maybe we'll even round it to 20% just for, just for the sake of this argument of the 80-20 rule. Literally, like, more information after a certain point, it doesn't do anything. It's not beneficial, right? Information gathering is just that. It's information gathering. It's applying and implementing the information that you have that is really going to actually create transformation in your life. And if you're consistently listening and acquiring information and then not implementing it, that's not going to produce results for you. I want to be very transparent about that. And this might be a little bit of an uncomfortable episode, and that's okay. Sometimes that's what this show's about, is really putting you in the direction of actually acting and implementing, because that's how you're going to get results. And what I find a lot of times is people hide in information, and it's kind of like, if you were gonna swim, if you were gonna learn to swim, it's like reading books and listening to podcasts on swimming again and again and again and again and again and again and never getting in the water. Like, we know that the only way you're really going to learn to swim is by being in the water. The only way you're ever really going to learn how to break the wheel of OCD and anxiety is learning the skills and actually putting them into practice in your day-to-day life, confronting fear head on in your day-to-day life, actually engaging in ERP, actually putting acceptance commitment therapy into practice, the AAA response, learning to feel what's going on in your body, disengage with your mind, all the stuff that we talk about. The only way that you're going to really see results is if you're actually doing that, and when you're constantly running back to information, you're avoiding the work. And you have to kind of look at it like, if you were learning to swim, is it better for you to go listen to a podcast on swimming or watch more YouTube videos on swimming, or to get in the water? Like, what's going to be more fruitful? Like, really, what's going to be more fruitful? I almost was thinking about titling this episode, "Don't Listen to My Channel. Don't listen to this podcast," right? Don't listen, don't watch my YouTube, because it's like, at a certain point, if that's all you're doing, you're not moving past that 15 or 20% mark on your journey. And if you're convincing yourself that you are, to be transparent, you're not being truthful with yourself. And this isn't meant to just, like, the reason I keep producing, and because it's like I know people are at different places of their journey, and I don't expect to go and have them listen to things that were created 3, 4, 5 years ago. I have my own material evolves, and I try to deliver the best I can, but I don't want you using this in a compulsive way as something that's preventing you from getting results. you know Ultimately, you have to really implement this in your life. You have to get in the game. You have to get in the water and start swimming. You have to start putting this into practice. And if you're bouncing around, 3, 4 hours a day on videos, what you're doing is actually using information to avoid doing the work. It's just the truth. It's just the reality. And you have to really be transparent and honest with yourself, where it's like at a certain point, there is a point of diminishing return with information. And you have to ask yourself if you're there. And if you are there, then you have to ask yourself what the next step you need to take is. Maybe it is, again, getting involved in my coaching program with TBC, or taking back control and actually working on the nuances of putting this into practice in your life. Maybe that for you, that's working one-on-one. Maybe that is more aligned with you, and that's okay. Like whatever it is, whether it's group or one-on-one, the question needs to be, okay, like if my goal is to swim in this metaphor, at a certain point, there's a cutoff with information, where it's like I have enough information. Now I need to start actually doing the training, doing the practice in the actual water. And for most people with OCD and anxiety, they don't make that jump and then convince themselves, deceive themselves, I'll go as far to say, that they're making progress because they're continuing to gather information. And that's a trap. It's a big trap people fall in. And I want to shine a light on it today. I want to shine a light on this episode, because it's a thing where information is very important to a certain point, probably that 20% mark. And if you have that 20% mark and you've reached it, you have that information, more information doesn't keep moving you up closer. And it becomes a diminishing return eventually. So you have to ask yourself where you are. And for some of you, maybe there is information to be gathered. This is something that's newer to you, but chances are, if you've been, part of the show for years on end now, right? You have to kind of ask yourself, okay, like if I have the information and I'm not implementing it well, what's the next step I need to take? And for some of you, that might mean coaching. That might mean the group. It might mean individual. Because now it's about implementing it and getting help implementing it in your life, because that's what's really going to get you results. So I wanted to share that message today. I know it's not always fun, and I know it's not necessarily going to promote the show, which is okay. And in many ways, in some ways, if I lose viewership because people are off going and doing their own thing and really implementing, that's okay to me. I'm not really making this so I get millions of subscribers that just listen to it every single day. It's at the end of the day, the reason I create this stuff is because I want people to take it and implement it so they can actually start living life on their terms. And if you are in that diminishing return point, then what I want you doing is looking at what the next step for you is. And if that means that I need help implementing this in my life, then take that step. Take that step. Be bold, be brave, be courageous, whatever that means for you. But if you are someone who's hiding in information gathering, you owe it to yourself to take that step, is what I would say. So with that, hope this was helpful. Hope this served you well, and wish you guys a great week and a great day. See you on the next episode. Hey there. So if you enjoyed that video, we've linked up a few more videos that we think you'd find helpful as well. And if you have found this helpful, we'd really appreciate your support by liking and subscribing. And if you're looking for help and guidance, please check out restoredminds.com, as we have several options for you to get started. See you guys soon.